Shadow Hearts is a PlayStation 2 era JRPG released in North America in 2001. And this is Let's Play Shadow Hearts. In this episode, we will not actually be playing Shadow Hearts. Instead, think of this more as a part 0, the first one I've done since, I think, Legend of Dragoon. Part 0s tend to be the place where the audience can ask questions before an upcoming LP. And you can feel free to post any questions you have in the comments down below. Do note that while I will be allowing spoilers in the comments here, please try to stay away from massive spoilers for the plot. There are usually ways to refer to these aspects without actually spelling things out all blunt force trauma. And of course, when we get to the LP proper, I will not be allowing spoilers in the comments, so if you have something to say, get it out of your system now. However, this is not the main point of this video. The main point I want to go over with you is the prequel to Shadow Hearts, Koudelka. Now, before going any further, I do want to point out that I have not completed Koudelka myself. I've only played a couple of hours into the game, mainly to get footage for this video. Besides that, I have watched a full Let's Play of the game, and I've primarily experienced the plot and how the game works vicariously. My analysis is based off of that, so take my points with as many grains of salt as you deem necessary. This isn't a full review of the game, I simply want to set the stage for Shadow Hearts, and I feel some background will be helpful. Koudelka is a PlayStation 1 title released in Japan in 1999 and internationally in 2000. The game is a prequel to Shadow Hearts featuring some of the same characters and locations, but overall not sharing the same plot. Some claim that Shadow Hearts is actually a spin-off. Now, the plot doesn't flow from Koudelka to Shadow Hearts as a direct continuation of the story, and you wouldn't even know that they're in the same universe until more than half the way through Shadow Hearts. However, since the events of Koudelka are referred to as being part of the past within Shadow Hearts itself, I like to think of Koudelka as a prequel in the same vein that, say, the Solo movie or Rogue One are prequel stories to the other Star Wars films. None are direct prequels, but they each cover side events within the main series, and I feel the same applies to Koudelka. Set in Wales in 1898, yes, Wales, in the UK, Koudelka, as well as other games in the Shadow Hearts series, actually take place in some form of the real world. Real-life places are used for the backdrop of the story, and historical events, both real and fictitious, are used as the base for many events throughout the game. Obviously, the historical accuracy portrayed in the game isn't a true facsimile of our own history, but the writers effectively integrate true events into the supernatural plot all the same. Fuck the whore! Anyway, as I was saying, the plot focuses on the fictional location called the Nemeton Monastery in the year of 1898. The monastery references the real-life location of the St. David's Cathedral, also located in Wales, where the development team went for inspiration. In the game are three main characters: the eponymous Koudelka, the adventurous Edward, and the Bishop James, all meet within the monastery. They each have their reasons at the start, but in true RPG fashion, their paths cross, as do their goals, and they must battle a great evil by the end of the game. Like our three wayward heroes, the plot of the game also wraps a number of smaller stories into a much larger mystery surrounding the sinister location. The story follows the three as they attempt to unravel these tales of love, murder, resurrection, and all manner of dark supernatural phenomenon while trying not to get killed themselves by monsters, the dead, or even a kindly old couple. As you might guess from the description, this game is dark. Very dark. To go into much more detail on the plot would involve heavy spoilers, some of which I will be covering during the LP as certain events in Koudelka are explained within Shadow Hearts itself, And of course, I will elaborate more when we get to those points. Koudelka's story is largely unrelated to the main Shadow Hearts plot. However, the events and the characters do have a sizable impact on the PlayStation 2 title. As far as it relates to the LP, the events of Koudelka take place 15 years prior, and while it's necessary to have played Koudelka in order to understand Shadow Hearts, knowing the story of the former will add to your experience of the latter. The gameplay is a cross between Resident Evil, Parasite Eve, and any other tactical RPG you've ever played. You are treated to the confusing exploration of Resident Evil-style puzzles, trying to find small items on pre-rendered backgrounds that are far too dark to properly see on. So you just end up spamming the button instead of actually looking for things. That doesn't mean that the art is bad. It is dated, yes, it's a PlayStation 1 title. But it also has some very nice gothic architecture and even some impressive cinematics for the day. However, instead of on-screen monsters jumping out at you, you get random battles. These battles take place on a grid system, allowing you to both move and take an action in the same turn, a la Final Fantasy Tactics. There is also a leveling system that allows the player to choose what stats they want to invest in at that particular level up, allowing for some interesting customization. Considering all the genres pulled from, it is a strange mashup of styles, to be sure. The voice acting shows its age, and the dialogue can be rigid and unnatural at times.
You're too early, Angel. I'm not dead yet.
Not yet, but it looks like you're going to die soon.
Though it does manage to be at least believable at other points.
Do you have any idea how much pain my psychic powers have brought me? My father died when I was only a child. I predicted the exact time, place, and ending of my father's life. Imagine that, predicting your own father's death.
The music was composed by Hiroki Kikuta, who is perhaps best known for being the composer for Secret of Mana and Seiken Densetsu 3. As you might expect, the soundtrack does a great job of setting the atmosphere for this game.
But then, there was the accident. So many people died. Everyone blamed my husband. It was so difficult for him.
I would like to draw specific attention to the battle themes for the game, as they are both off-putting and creepy at times, while still being catchy enough to not become tedious after hearing them many times over the course of the game. The game also features multiple endings based on player action, a feature that would also be used in the Shadow Hearts games going forward. The game spans 4 discs, but is only about 10 hours or so long, much of that being spent in combat or figuring out the little puzzles and backtracking multiple screens every time you find a new item. As I said earlier, this is not meant to be a full review. However, I wanted to demonstrate before we got into Shadow Hearts what kinds of dark storytelling we're in for, and give you a small background on the world we're about to embark into. I do plan on talking openly about the plot of this game within the Shadow Hearts LP. However, I thought it made sense to give the viewer a warning ahead of time, and give them an opportunity to learn about the story of Koudelka for themselves before the LP, if they so desire. I will not be doing a Let's Play of Koudelka. The game's combat system just doesn't seem to be all that much fun, and for a short, story-driven game like this one, I am able to get most of the enjoyment of playing the game simply by watching a Let's Play and a few reviews. So if this interests you, I invite you to join me for Let's Play Shadow Hearts! As a minor note, this was a different type of video for me to do. It's quite rare for me to script anything out like this, so please, let me know what you thought about the video in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.